Willie D Live.
What's up, family? We got a white woman from Mississippi. Her name is Ashley. Her internet handle on IG is Live Lively with Ashley. And she got some valuable information, fam. I think all the white women should come to the front, and white men, y'all come on to the front. And well, everybody, just come to the front. Everybody come to the front. And listen to what she has to say. And y'all let me know if you think she's on point.
I'm from Mississippi, and on the 4th of July, my son's best friend came with us to my family's get-together. And their friend is black, and he was the only black person. My son's friend was obviously going to be protected with us, as are all of our black friends, because I'm very aware of how racist people can be in Mississippi. And I even told my kids before we left for my family's 4th of July thing that if anyone said anything racist, that they knew that their mama was going to speak up, say something, because I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're my own family. I'm going to call you out on your racist BS, and that we would immediately leave, because I'm not going to tolerate that ever. So my kids know that about me, but I also want to make sure that they know that we have to speak out no matter who it is. I don't care if it's family. People come out and are saying, you need to warn your kids about being the only black person amongst a group of white people, especially in certain places around here. Very much so. I agree with it. I'm always telling my kids, if you are with your friends who aren't white and you're around any certain area and someone comes out saying racist stuff, you have to be the one that speaks up. You have to intervene. When my kids were little and they would go play basketball at another guy's house, his neighbor always hung a Confederate flag. And I would tell my boys, if y'all are set on playing basketball there at your friends, please know if that man ever comes outside of that house, you have to be the one to speak to him. Do not let your black friends try to say anything, because you never know what that man might do to them. So as a white parent who is very aware of the racism here and everywhere, in most places, unfortunately, it is my job to make sure I educate my children, simply not on being not racist, but I want to teach them, and I do teach them, how to be anti-racist and how to use the privilege that they have as a white person around here to make sure that they're the ones speaking up and intervening to protect all their friends who aren't white, because they're going to be viewed differently than their black friends. And so they have to do that. They have to step in. So if you're a white person and you get offended by people saying, don't let your black children be the only black person going somewhere with a white family, we should not be offended. We should be very aware of what they have to deal with all the time. And it doesn't matter if we're the exception to that rule. We should understand where they're coming from, and then also do our part to make sure we're educating our children on how to be better stewards of the privilege that they have, especially in these places, and to make sure that they're protecting their friends.
So basically, if you're standing on shore and you see somebody drowning, you don't say, that's not my problem. You jump in and try to save them. Okay. I almost liken this to how we tell our girls and our women to, be careful how they, dress, right? Because some men won't be able to control their emotions. They might try to attack them or something like that. They're inviting trouble or whatever, right? If you put a black person around a racist white person, they're inviting trouble, right? Because the racist white person has a sense of entitlement that he can harm a black body just because it's a black body. It's a black person. There are people out there that feel like they got a birthright to harm black bodies. So the only reason why these dudes do what they do is because they get a pass from law enforcement. And the reason why they get a pass from law enforcement is because law enforcement itself is crawling with uncivilized mud racists. That's right, I said it, I know you. I studied you. All over America, law enforcement, it is racism runs rampant throughout law enforcement. I'm talking about the highest levels of law enforcement. They're in law enforcement on every single level you can think of. They're in Congress. They're elected officials. Yeah. They're governors, they're senators, they're congressmen, they're congresswomen, they're city council members, they're on the school board, they're in the hospitals, they're doctors, they're nurses. They're in the convalescent homes. They're in the youth facilities. They're in the prisons. They work in the transportation industry. They work for the county. They work for the city. They're in every major institution and industry, and every minor institution and industry. And the racist, the worst of them all, are usually at the very top. So that's why it continues, because they haven't done anything to punish those who practice that type of behavior. They haven't done anything to punish the ones from the past. So the ones that are in the present, they continue the same behavior. If you want to stop it, you gotta punish them. They don't understand that. Like in America, Americans don't understand but two things: money and blood. Ashley pretty much said she has to coach her children on how to protect their black friends. And you got white people out there who are upset that black people are all over the internet warning young black children to stay away from groups of white people when they're the only black person. That's not hate, that's survival, y'all. In fact, if you reverse the roles, white people are already doing that. You seldom see one white person in a group of all black people. Now think about that. Now you tell me who playing the race card. Because usually when you got black and white friends, or even black and white people that's in a relationship, in an intimate relationship, the black person usually conforms to white society. They usually hang out with the white crowd. They usually, if they got a significant other, they hang around that significant other's friend group, which is typically white. They hang around whites. They go into white spaces. You very seldom see a black and a white couple and the white person is spending more time in black spaces. You very seldom see that. Very seldom see that. I wonder why. Everybody got to ask themselves. Anybody that's living that life, you got to ask yourself, why are you always in the white spaces? Why aren't your white friends ever in the black spaces? But we're the ones, we're playing the race card. Now, when we talk about this race thing, we're talking about survival, man. This ain't got nothing to do with getting in our feelings and all that kind of stuff. This ain't got nothing to do with racism. First of all, we can't even. I ain't gonna even try to explain that, but because if you don't know now, you ain't gonna never know. But yeah, that ain't got nothing to do with hating. That got everything. That has nothing to do with hatred. That has everything to do with survival. When black people tell black kids, do not be the only black person in a group of white people. That's survival. That ain't hate. That's survival. And the trip part about it is white people are already practicing that. White people are already practicing that. They're already not being the only white person in black crowds, in black spaces, around a bunch of black friends. And the cold part about it is the safest place for any white person is around a group of black people. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.